In this lesson, we're going to look at translating verbal phrases into expressions. And so when you answer your essential question, be really specific. What kind of things are you looking for? What are some special cases that you need to pay attention to? Things like that. So I've given you a chart of some just key words and phrases. And so these are just a few because there's a ton more. These are just a few words that mean all these different operations or mathematical symbols. As you come across one, and I think we'll come across some as we work through the examples I have, you may want to add to this list, okay? This is really, really important. This is something that we struggle with, that my students have struggled with in the past, is we don't know how to read words and turn them into a mathematical expression or equation. And so we really need to know how to do this. So I've given you several examples down here. So I did not write these on your notes. So at any point, if you need to pause the video to write these words down, then please do that because I do want you to have these examples in your notes. Okay? So the first one, when we go to translate this, a lot of times when we read these phrases or sentences, a lot of times you can translate it word for word. For example, here it says 8 more than. Now more than, yep, more than it's right here on our addition list. 8 more than, so that means plus 3 times multiplication a numbers. So a number, this is something we don't know. This is our variable. It could be n. It could be whatever we want. So there's actually two different ways we could write this. We can say 8 plus 3 times the number. And so remember, multiplication, we just want to write the number next to the variable. Or we could technically switch this around. This is probably more exactly what this phrase means. One thing I want to point out is sometimes we think of more than as meaning the inequality symbol, but in order for it to be the inequality symbol, it would have to say is more than. So when it's just more than without the is, it means adding. Okay. Here's the next one. 7 decreased by 4 times a number. Okay. So decreased by, it's there in our chart. That means to subtract. 4 times the number, so super easy. 7 minus 4 times n. And you can use whatever variable you want. It doesn't have to be n. It can be x, y, z, whatever. Whatever makes you happy. Okay, here's another one. 7 times a number increased by, that means to add, 4. Okay, so we would write 7n or x or whatever plus 4. Okay. Okay, here's number 4. Now this one is super, super important. Star this one. Okay, because this one is tricky. 3 less than a number. I think we know that less than, notice it doesn't say is less than, so it's not in any inequality symbol. It's less than, so that means subtraction, okay? But I want to ask you, if we write this word for word, is that correct? Does this show 3 less than the number? If the number was 5, is 3 minus 5 going to give me the correct answer? 3 less than 5? I hope you're saying no. Okay? Less than is what I like to call a turnaround word. And so this is the one of the cases, and there's some other words that this could possibly happen with. This is one word where we can't quite write it the way it says. We have to turn it around. So this would actually be n minus 3. So if I said 3 less than 5 and 5 was the number, wouldn't that make more sense? Okay. Let's see, the next one. 5 times the sum of a number and 5. So this is a little bit tricky. Sum means to add, but it's not saying 5 times what? 5 times all of this. Okay, so this is going to be an instance where we need to insert some parentheses. So it's 5 times the sum, the addition of a number and 5. N plus, oops, I'm sorry, 8. See how that's different? Think about how that's different than maybe this one right here, where we said 7n plus 4 and we didn't put parentheses. Notice it says 7 times the number. Here it's saying 5 times the sum, which is represented by all of that. Okay, here's another one. 8 times the sum of a number and 5. And I meant to put difference here, but that's okay. We know difference means subtraction. So again, this would be an example where we would say 8 parentheses n plus 5. Okay, so there's some examples just for you to think about, and I just want you to practice this today. You have a Quizlet. I'd like you to go in, and before you sort through the flashcards, try playing the match game and play around with those cards, those Quizlet cards, and make sure that you really understand how to translate expressions, because tomorrow we're going to get a little bit more difficult.